Hi, I'm Dr. Scott Turansky, and I am with the National Center for Biblical Parenting. And I want to zero in today on some very specific challenges that often parents have as they work with their children. I want to talk about sibling conflict. And I think of all of the challenges that parents have with their kids, this is one that grieves them the most, to see how challenging it can be to work with kids who are fighting or putting each other down and so on. And I've got a lot of solutions. I've actually got a whole curriculum that helps parents to know what to do in this area of sibling conflict. And I want to help you understand that and give you some practical ideas for applying this in your situation and in your family. So let's jump in here and talk about this, because if you can help your children make some changes in this area of sibling conflict, you can bring about some great harmony. And I'm convinced that sibling conflict is a child's first class in relationship training. Kids need to learn how to deal with other people, and it starts here. And I think if parents can guide their children here, then I think it can help them greatly. Here's what I think the challenge is. I think many children have a problem inside of their hearts because they when it comes to sibling conflict, it's not just dealing with their own selfishness. That's often what we're dealing with when we're helping children to make some changes. We're helping them to adjust and address life in a better way. What we're trying to do here is help our kids to grow in address not only their own selfishness, but also the selfishness of other people. If they have other kids, obviously, in their family, they're trying to work with these things with those children, and that's not an easy thing to do. So what I want to do is I want to give you some very practical ideas of how you can implement some solutions that will help you as you work with children in this very, very important area of family life. Now, the first thing I want to say is that one of the greatest things you can do is work with children independently. Don't try to work with children all together. You try to work with them independently, because when you work with kids independently, it helps you to be able to address their specific needs that they have. If children are challenged in this area, it's because they've got some specific issues that they need to address and work on in their lives. And so working with children independently will help them deal with not only their own selfishness, but also the selfishness of other people. That's what we want for them. We want them to be able to address these things in a very personal way, in a practical way in their lives. So let's look at some specific things here. I think that there are three roadblocks to sibling harmony. These three roadblocks are things like anger and selfishness and foolishness. All of these problems that children have. Here's what I found. Create some problems for them as they're trying to move forward. And so what we're trying to do is help our kids grasp some greater understanding of this and be able to deal with it on a deeper level. So let's talk about working with a child independently, because I think each child has to deal with their own selfishness. So let's talk about what that looks like for a particular child. If that child's going to make some changes in their lives, then they need to be able to respond to their particular issues and the issues of someone else. So let's talk about the whole problem of selfishness and what that's going to look like to bring about change in a child's life. I think that one of the things that we see here is that children, they don't have what they need. They don't have the character. So let's focus on children and remember that the goal isn't just peace. We're not trying to get our kids to be at peace with each other. We're trying to help our children to develop some skills that will develop this internal qualities. That means they're going to need training. And I think that sibling conflict is this great training tool for kids that will help them to be able to respond to the challenges they face in life. So when we talk about character, we're talking about character qualities that we can train them in. And I was working with one boy. He was in my office. He's 14 years old, and his parents were sitting next to her, because I always work with children while their parents are watching. And I said to this boy, because he was mean to his brother, and I said, let's talk about this. And he told me he's mean to his brother because his brother is annoying. 9-year-old brother's annoying. And so I turned to the parents and I said, is the 9-year-old really annoying? And they said, yes, he is. So now we have a certified annoying child here. And so I said to the 14-year-old, I said, here's what I want you to do this week. I want you to go in and I want you to find a way that you can not get angry and be mean to your brother. You figure it out, because I'm transferring responsibility to the child. I'm saying go in there and try to do something and show me that you can make some changes here. And so he came back the next week. I said, how did it go? He said, it went great. I said, well, what did you do? He says, whenever I started to get angry with him, I just walked out of the room. And I said, wow, that's really great. I said, that's a wise thing for you to do, and that will help you. But I want you to do something more, I said to him. What I want you to do is I want you to stay in there this time. Look for a way to stay in there and solve the problem without leaving the room. He says, why? Why should I do that? And I said, it's because you want to develop solutions for dealing with your brother. And it's very possible that God wants to do something deeper inside of you. That maybe someday you're going to grow up and you're going to be in an office where there are annoying people. And you're going to know, oh, I'm so glad I had an annoying brother because I learned how to work on some of these things myself. So that's what you want to do. So he went off that week and he started working on with this subject, came back to me the next week, and I said, how did it go? And he says, well, it went fine. I said, well, what did you do? He says, well, when I saw him just start to be annoying, I just said to him, would you cut it out? And he did. So in that situation, I'm not saying that's going to work with every child, but what we did here was we transferred responsibility to the child, and by transferring responsibility to the child, we then brought into this whole solution for him some great ideas that were that he was able to use, and he was able to bring about change in his particular situation. So think in terms of training. Kids need training today. And if you can bring about this training inside of a child's heart and life, then really good things can happen with them. So training, think about the qualities you want to develop. You don't just try to separate kids. Sometimes with sibling conflict, we just separate kids and we think that if we separate them, then they're not going to be fighting, but it's like the boxing ring, the bell dings and they're back at it again. We have to train them. One of the ways you can train kids is to teach them what I call a stop rule. And so if children have a stop rule in their lives, and this stop rule can be something that helps them to value their words and to use their words in a way that helps them to be more effective in working with their siblings. So, and you want to be listening for that. So if a child says stop, you're quick to step in and say, okay, what's the problem here? What can I do here that's going to help with this situation? And you're going to enforce that stop rule so that children learn that their words are important. That's what they need to learn, the value of their words. And if they can learn that their words are valuable, then that's going to help greatly. And it goes a long way to help children to be able to address some of the challenges they have, to be able to jump into this area of sibling conflict and to have a stop rule. It usually happens with teasing and tickling games that you have, and a child says stop, and everybody else needs to listen. So it becomes one of the tools that you might use, just a practical idea. But the bigger idea is to recognize that children need to learn servanthood. And this idea of servanthood has to do with being able to step into a situation and not have to control. But servanthood is key. So I want to teach you a bigger concept here. That is, sibling conflict is a piece of a bigger idea that a family needs and family life needs. This bigger idea is what I call honor. And it's a biblical concept. I'm convinced that God's concept of honor is God's anti-selfishness curriculum. And all children need to learn honor. And honor is much more than respect. In fact, I want to offer you a family package tool. It's called the Honor Family Kit. It contains 13 videos of Joanne and me teaching about honor with a skit in each one you can show your kids. It contains 8 audio sessions of Joanne and me teaching this particular concept, and it contains the children's program, the Kids Honor Club for children 3 to 12. So you can go through and teach children what honor looks like in practical terms. Here's how you get it. Go to biblicalparenting.org/honor. And when you do, it'll come right up. It'll tell you what's in the package, and you can go ahead and order it. It's right now on sale for $49 during this special offer. And honor, you're going to use it in so many different ways. When you see selfishness in a child, honor is your solution. And we define honor in practical terms for kids. We teach them how to use it. And it changes their dynamic because now children are learning how to contribute in family life. That's what we want. So if you work with children on this concept of honor, it's going to change the way they think about other people and how they respond to others. So practice honor. That's the key. That's what we're looking for here. as you're trying to help them change. Now, honor is this idea of valuing other people. So when I work with kids with ADHD, or I work with kids who have selfishness, or kids who tend to be self-focused for whatever reason, honor becomes a very important part of that curriculum. And you certainly can use it with sibling conflict, but use it in some other ways first. Here's what I would suggest you do. At first, you want to have kids practice honor just by adding energy to family life, by contributing to family life, by doing things like you can send them into the living room and say, I want you to do an honor check. And they go, what's that mean? Well, go in there and see something that's wrong and fix it. And so they go in and they do something like put the cushions back on the couch, and you say, okay, that was good. Well, let me just talk about what you could have done, because I'm going to have an honor check in a little bit, in a few more hours. But you could have taken all those cups out of the living room and put them from the dishes that we had from last night's ice cream party. You could have cleaned up some of those toys that are on the floor. You could have even vacuumed the floor. All of those would have shown honor, and you would have been adding to the room. So this concept of honor is getting kids to contribute, to look for ways that they can value the family, and then we're going to take that idea of honor and apply it to people. So we're going to send children on an honor mission, and we're going to say, Billy, you need to go in at 9 years old, and you need to do something with your sister that shows value to her. 5 minutes. Just spend 5 minutes there. I'll know if she's feeling honored, because she's going to be laughing, or she's going to want you to spend some more time. But come out after 5 minutes. We want to be successful, and if we wait too long, then we end up with a problem. So we want to use honor then in this practical way to help them move forward. I think I said this already, but I'm going to repeat it again. Work with children independently when you're dealing with sibling conflict. Don't try to work with them together, because working with kids together isn't going to help you. You really want to work independently with kids, because it's in this independent working with them that you're able to train them. And so you may have two kids fighting, you just pull one of them out. You don't have to think about justice here. Oh, we got two kids who have a problem, we're going to discipline them. But just pull one out. And you say to the child, look, you're having a problem in there. I can tell your sister's being annoying, and you're not handling it well. So I'm going to send you back in there. Let's develop a plan of what you can do. Well, what about her? Well, I'll work with her, but I'm helping you right now develop a plan, and I'm going to send you back in to be with her. And if you're doing the right thing, she's doing the wrong thing, I'll call her out. You need to practice relating to your sister, even if she's being annoying. And so we're training children independently to work with the sibling. Let's talk about this idea of that's not fair. This is one of those things that I think gets parents into trouble, because they're always trying to be fair with their kids. And what they do, it is a misunderstanding of fairness. They're basically saying that fair means equal. Fair doesn't mean equal. God doesn't treat us all equally. He treats us uniquely according to our own needs. He gives each person a different spiritual gift. Where there's several parables in the Bible where it seems like things are unfair. One person gets 5 talents, one gets 2, one gets 1. There's no complaint there that says, I shouldn't get only 2, I should get 5. It's not fair. No, that's not how it goes. Fair does not mean equal. And so if we're trying to treat everybody equally, we're encouraging competition and comparison among children. We don't want to do that. If you do that, no wonder your children are fighting and competing and comparing each other. It's not good. Don't try to do that. Treat them independently according to their uniqueness. Even when you call them for dinner, don't say, okay, kids, I'll come for dinner. Say, Billy, you need to go wash your hands for dinner? Mary, would you get the forks out and put them around the table? Treat children independently to break down this idea of competition and comparison. One mom had an idea that she used as she was working with her kids, and she decided to bake some cookies. And because she wanted to break down this idea of this competition and comparison. She baked the cookies, she brought them into the living room, and she said, here, you can have 1 cookie, here you can have 2 cookies, and turned to leave. And the one with 1 cookie said, that's not fair. He got 2. And you say, don't think about him. You want more cookies? Here, you can have 2 cookies, more. And so what she's deliberately doing is treating her children uniquely to break down this idea of competition and comparison. I think it's sad when parents say, okay, we got to go get Susie some shoes. Well, I better get Billy something too, or he's going to feel like it's not fair. We're not even trying to deal with that. We're going to teach our children from the get-go now that fairness, meaning equal, is not what we're doing. We treat everybody special. We treat everybody uniquely, and that's our goal here as we're trying to move forward. So that's going to help you as you're working with sibling conflict to cut down on some of this. And then we want to really practice the honor. And if the honor is used over and over again in family life, then great things can happen. We can help children make changes in their lives. So this honor exercises are going to be now on the positive side. Remember, one of the keys about a heart-based approach to parenting is that we're not just correcting children for what they're doing wrong. We're training them to do something right. And honor is the solution for selfishness. Honor is the solution when children start fighting. So being able to work with them is going to be strategic. And teaching servanthood is just part of what we do. I'll just tell you a story about my grandkids. I found someone gave me a big bag of Beanie Babies, these small stuffed animals. And I took them to my two grandsons, and they were young, 6 and 4 years old. And what are they going to do with the Beanie Babies? They're going to throw them around the room. And so I said, well, let's put a trash can over there and let's try to throw them in the trash can. So we're playing this game. But I was disappointed to hear the comments that were being made. This one of the boys was saying, I beat you, or, oh, you missed. And I'm going, whoa, we got a problem here. And so I said, I want to tell you a Bible story. And I told the story from Mark chapter 10 about the two boys who wanted the best seat and they came to Jesus, and they said to Jesus, could we have the best seat? One sit on your left and one sit on your right when we come into your kingdom. And Jesus says to them, look, I can't give you that. That's not something I can do. But here's what you need to understand, something about the kingdom. He says, if you want to be great in God's kingdom, learn to be the servant of all. And I told them that story. And they're just young. And I said, you want to be great? You want to be first? Learn to be a servant. Let's brainstorm about some words that you could say. If I throw the Beanie Baby and it misses the trash can, what could you say to me that would be encouraging? And we brainstormed about some ideas. One of the boys said, good try, Grandpa. That's a good thing to say. And if somebody gets it in and it's not you, what could you say? Good job. Okay, so then let's go back and play again. So now we're throwing Beanie Babies into the trash can, and the words that are coming out of my grandsons' mouths are encouraging and edifying. It's the things they need. So we're training them. I'm teaching them what servanthood looks like and helping them to put that into practice in their lives. By doing that, we're actually building something inside of a child to help them as they move forward. Now, some children are just mean, and I think they need honor therapy, but let's look at the other child too. We have to care for both kids. The child who's being mistreated, we want to empathize with that child and say, you know, what your brother's doing is wrong. So we want to clearly not defend the other one. We want to say, when your brother's being mean like that, then what he's doing is wrong. And so we're defining this right and wrong so that children get that in their lives. Very important that right and wrong are established. And so children aren't just becoming victims, but they know. That's why the stop rule is so valuable. When you say stop and someone isn't listening to the stop, then they're doing the wrong thing. When I teach the stop rule, or when I even taught it to my own kids or encourage dads and moms to teach it, I say, go ahead and tickle your child and tell them, I'll stop as soon as you say stop. I do this with my grandson Everett all the time now. He loves to be tickled. So I say, I'll tickle him. And I viciously tickle him. He can't even breathe. But when he says stop, I stop right away. Because I want him to know that his words are valuable. And when he says stop, I listen. That doesn't mean everyone's going to stop in life. But it does mean that if you say stop and somebody doesn't stop, you know they're doing the wrong thing and your words are valuable. So by teaching children more about how to have plans for dealing with these kind of things, it's important. Now, I think we want to teach children three solutions when you're being mistreated. One is to confront, to say stop, or I don't like that. Give them the actual words to say, or give it back to me. We want to empower children with words. So confronting is important. They need to learn, it's a skill. You need to learn how to confront without being mean or yelling, number one. Number two solution is to get help. Sometimes children are not responsive, and you tell them to stop. And so the second thing you do is get help. And that may be getting help from another brother or sister, but it also may be getting help from a parent or a teacher. Go get help. Learn that if someone's mistreating you, you don't have to live with that. Go and get help. And so helping children to know how to get help is good. You need to learn how to get help without tattling. Tattling is basically just trying to get somebody in trouble. But going and getting help is different. Hey, I need help here with what's going on. So helping children with that is important. And the third one is to ignore. Sometimes we just ignore. I'm not saying we ignore meanness all the time, but it happens to be one of the solutions that can work. If you just ignore a child who's being irritating, then sometimes ignoring them produces some good results and they stop doing it. So those become three solutions that we can use as we're helping our children to respond to this. Keep in mind that this concept of honor is so valuable. I use it with children who have ADHD. I use it with children who tend to be selfish. I'm not saying ADHD kids are selfish. It's just that they lack the social skills and they need to learn how to show honor, and it helps them greatly in that area. There are other children who are just selfish, and the selfishness that children have is offset by honor because honor looks for ways to help others. In fact, I define honor this way in the kit, in a very practical way for young children. I define it this way: treating people as special, doing more than what's expected, and having a good attitude. Those are three practical parts of what honor is. We work on each one of those. There's chapters in the children's program for each one of these. I was in a family's home, and the 3-year-old said, Mom said to me, we're working on the Kids Honor Club in our home. Remember, that's the children's program that you get at this website for ages 3 to 12. And this boy is only 3. And so I turned to him, I said, what is honor? And he recited this definition: treating people as special, doing more than what's expected, and having a good attitude. I was impressed. 3 years old. He's already learning this. I think if we teach children about honor, good things can happen. Remember that God has given 2 commands to children. One is obedience and one is honor. And God has hidden within an honor and obedience all the success principles that they're going to need for life. Honor is like customer service brought home. Children need to learn that. And when children learn how to honor other people, it does something to them because they are now contributing to the lives of other people. They're blessing other people, and children need that. Now, many children have their own selfishness, but in sibling conflict, they're dealing with the selfishness of someone else, and that's where we have the challenge. So we're working on character development, working on patience. One mom was telling me just yesterday that the 2 kids were in the car, and this one boy was being mean to this other boy. The second boy was the one mom was working on, who gets angry all the time, and he's learning some better responses. It happened to be that the second child, the older child, was sitting kitty corner to mom, and the irritating child, the annoying child, was sitting behind mom. And so mom was giving the thumbs up to the boy on the that she's working with to help him develop the character, and he's responding with kindness to his brother and patience, much more than mom says I would have been able to do, but because mom was coaching him and putting thumbs up and encouraging. You see what she was doing in this relationship? She was using the relationship between these 2 boys to strengthen character in her son, affirm that character, and this son is growing in his maturity because of this. This is one of the benefits. If we can take the sibling conflict apart, break it into pieces, help our children understand what their responsibility is to build the character that they need, then good things can happen. And coaching children along in this way is a great tool. Let me give you an idea. One more thought before we go. I want to invite you to, for free, watch me coach a family for 8 weeks. I'm having a Zoom meeting with this family for 8 weeks, a family I've never met before, and it starts next Wednesday night at January 22nd at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And if you want the Zoom link, I'll give it to you. You can watch me do it. I do this because I'm so confident in this program, the Biblical Parenting Coaching Program, that it's going to bring change in any family's life. That I haven't met these people, you're going to watch me work with them, and you're going to see change in this 11-year-old boy who's self-focused. He's got some real challenges in his life. He's resistant to his parents' instruction. Some really difficult things, and we're going to bring about some change. You're going to watch me do it. If you want the link, go to this website, biblicalparenting.org. That's my website. At the top, hit the contact form, biblicalparenting.org. Hit the contact form, and then fill that in and just ask for the link. I'd be happy to give it to you. And I want you to watch me for as many of those 8 weeks as you can, 7 o'clock p.m. Wednesdays, starting January 22nd for 8 weeks. and watch what happens. You'll learn things that you can apply to your own family. You'll watch how a family change. You'll be sold on the heart-based approach because it brings major change in a family's life quickly. 8 weeks, just imagine in your home if you could bring that kind of change in a family in 8 weeks. It's powerful. So I want to invite you to be a part of that if you'd like. In this session, I've tried to address sibling conflict, tried to give you a vision for using it to build character, separate the kids, work with them independently. If you work with kids together, they're going to gang it up on each other. It just doesn't work. And the problems that each of them have are different. So you might be uncomfortable with the tension, but know that you're working with each child separately, and as you do, you'll see some great change take place in those kids. And sibling conflict will be this arena in which you can build and grow honor. You'll help children develop the life skills that they need for relationship training. They need it. You're the teacher as a parent. You are the person who's going to work with them, and the subject matter is honor, and they're the students. And you're going to build this into them in a great way. Go to biblicalparenting.org/honor. You can buy this whole kit on sale now for $49. You'll find it a great tool for your family to use in a lot of different ways to deal with selfishness as you see it in various forms. So enjoy, God bless you, and I look forward to hearing stories. Be sure to email me or go to the contact form and tell me stories of what God's doing in your family. I'd love to hear more. God bless you, and have a great week as you serve the Lord.